This morning, IMPD is investigating after a shooting that left a mother dead on Indy's south side.
IMPD says they were called just before midnight to a home on Turtle Creek North Drive after reports of multiple shots fired. When officers got there, they found a woman who'd been shot and killed. At the time of the shooting, a 2-year-old child was inside the home unharmed.
It's just past midnight on the south side of Indianapolis. Most of the city is quiet, porch lights glowing, cars tucked into driveways, and apartment windows darkened as families settle in for the night. But inside one apartment on Turtle Creek North Drive, something isn't right. A soft night lamp glows in a child's room. A tiny pair of shoes rests by the door. Toys lie scattered on a small carpet, untouched since earlier that evening. A 2-year-old sleeps peacefully, breathing softly, unaware that the warm, safe world they know is about to shatter. Just a few feet away, in the stillness of another room, 26-year-old Amanda Sheree Jones is alone. A mother, a daughter, a young woman with plans, with responsibilities, with people who love her. There's nothing unusual about this night, until suddenly, everything changes. Neighbors would later say they didn't hear much, not the kind of sounds that make people rush to their windows. But something did happen, something irreversible, something that would bring flashing lights, marked cars, and detectives moving silently through the hallway minutes later. At 11:54 p.m., officers respond to a call. They have no idea what they're about to walk into. They only know it's urgent. When police push open the door, they find a scene that freezes them in place. The apartment feels still, but heavy. A life, Amanda's life, has slipped away, leaving questions hanging in the air like smoke. Questions with no answers, no suspects, no explanations. Not yet, but the most heartbreaking discovery? Inside the home, the 2-year-old child, unharmed, was still there. Silent, alone, waiting. Within minutes, the quiet apartment complex becomes a crime scene. Yellow tape stretching across walkways, officers whispering into radios, investigators marking details that the rest of the world will never see. 2 individuals are taken in for questioning, but later released. The night grows colder, and the story becomes even more unsettling, because whatever happened inside those walls, the person responsible is still unknown. This is the story of Amanda Sheree Jones, a young mother whose final moments remain wrapped in mystery. And tonight, we're retracing every detail, every timeline, and every unanswered question surrounding that tragic night on Turtle Creek North Drive. Welcome to LAT True Crime Stories. I am your host. Today we are breaking down one of the most recent and twisted cases you've ever seen. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and leave your comment to tell us where you're watching from. Let's build this community together. Now let's get into it. Indianapolis South Side is a neighborhood that most residents would describe as quiet, ordinary, filled with the rhythms of daily life. On any typical evening, streetlights flicker on, children's laughter drifts from backyards, and neighbors exchange hellos across fences. It was in this seemingly peaceful setting, on Turtle Creek North Drive, that Amanda Sheree Jones lived, a 26-year-old mother, known to friends and family as loving, devoted, and endlessly caring. Amanda's life revolved around her young child, a little toddler who depended on her every day. She was a mother who took the small joys seriously, morning routines, bedtime stories, quiet moments together. To those who knew her, she was a woman building a life, finding stability, and nurturing the future in the eyes of her child. Yet, as the night of November 25th, 2025 approached, the shadows that often go unnoticed in ordinary neighborhoods were about to crash through the door of Amanda's home in a way no one could have foreseen. That evening, neighbors later described hearing nothing unusual at first. The usual sounds of daily life, the hum of traffic, children's voices fading into quiet as bedtime approached. But behind one closed door, tension simmered, unseen by the outside world. Amanda had been navigating challenges in her personal life. Family members would later reveal that she had cautioned against a relationship that seemed potentially dangerous, and there had been prior interactions with authorities concerning protective measures. Though these details remain unverified as motive, they hint at a life balancing love, caution, and concern for safety in a world that could shift in an instant. By 11:54 p.m., police received the call that would change everything. Officers would arrive to find Amanda shot inside her apartment. A young child, her toddler, remained inside, unharmed but suddenly motherless. Two adults at the scene were briefly detained and later released, leaving unanswered questions hanging in the heavy Indianapolis air. The home, which had been a sanctuary, had become a site of irreversible tragedy. What made this crime even more jarring was its suddenness. Amanda's neighbors spoke of her kindness, her smiles, her care for her child. She was a woman with plans, with love to give, with a future that seemed bright and ordinary. And yet, in a single night, that ordinary life was shattered. The community felt the ripple immediately. Shock, disbelief, and sorrow spread like wildfire. Friends and relatives began asking, could this have been prevented? Were there signs no one saw? The scene was cordoned off, officers scoured for evidence, and investigators from the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department took over the case. Cameras captured flashing lights, neighbors whispered accounts, and social media reflected the collective heartbreak of a city grappling with a senseless death. In the hours and days that followed Amanda's life, her love, her laughter, her role as a mother became the centerpiece of an investigation, a memorial, and a growing public concern for the safety of women, families, and children everywhere. This was more than a murder. It was a story that demanded understanding, compassion, and a search for answers. It was a story that began in a home, on a quiet street, with a mother who had only tried to protect her child and herself, and whose life ended in tragedy that would leave a community forever changed. As dawn broke over South Indianapolis, the gravity of what had occurred in Amanda Sheree Jones' apartment began to take hold. The quiet streets that once carried the ordinary rhythms of life were now filled with whispers, speculation, and the unshakable tension of a neighborhood grappling with tragedy. A young mother was dead, her toddler left behind, and the sense of safety that residents had taken for granted was shattered in an instant. Investigators from the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department began piecing together the night's events, seeking every fragment of evidence that might explain how a life so full of promise had ended so violently. Officers interviewed neighbors, reviewed surveillance footage, and spoke to family members, attempting to uncover the circumstances that led to Amanda's death. Two adults initially detained at the scene were released, leaving the case unresolved and fueling both fear and curiosity in the community. Rumors circulated, some factual, some conjecture, about Amanda's relationships, prior warnings she may have given, and past interactions with authorities. Friends and relatives shared the pain of her loss while recalling her warmth, generosity, and devotion to her child. She loved that little one more than anything, a relative said. She always put her child first. I just can't believe someone could take her away so suddenly. The investigation also revealed a troubling backdrop. Amanda had previously expressed concern about certain individuals and situations in her life. While authorities have not confirmed a motive, these details suggest that the danger may have been foreseeable, if only through warning signs unnoticed or unheeded. For the community, this sparked a painful reflection. How often do tragedies hide in plain sight, masked by ordinary routines and unspoken tensions? The emotional fallout was immediate and intense. Neighbors felt shaken, fearing for their own safety and the well-being of the children in their lives. Family members wrestled with anger, confusion, and grief, struggling to reconcile the vibrant, caring woman they knew with the violent end she suffered. Friends posted tributes online, sharing photos, memories, and messages of sorrow, while others questioned how the system could have done more to prevent such a senseless act. Even the child left behind became a focal point of concern. Authorities ensured the toddler was placed in safe care, yet the weight of the loss reverberated through the small apartment and beyond. Every unanswered question about who, why, and how added layers of tension, uncertainty, and sorrow. As detectives continued their work, canvassing the neighborhood and speaking to potential witnesses, the case became more than a murder investigation. It evolved into a story of human fragility, the consequences of overlooked danger, and the ripple effects of tragedy on an entire community. Amanda Sheree Jones' life and her untimely death had become a mirror reflecting both vulnerability and resilience, for her family, neighbors, and everyone who would come to hear her story. The investigation into Amanda Sheree Jones' death continued to unfold in the days following that tragic night. Indianapolis Metropolitan Police worked tirelessly, following leads, reviewing evidence, and speaking with anyone who might hold the key to solving the case. 2 people had been briefly detained at the scene, yet no arrests had been made at the time of reporting, leaving the community on edge and the questions unanswered. For family and friends, the absence of closure only deepened the grief. Amanda's child, now motherless, became a silent witness to the tragedy, while relatives struggled to reconcile the vibrant, caring woman they loved with the violent circumstances of her death. The pain of knowing a young life was lost, and another disrupted forever, echoed through homes, streets, and social media posts, as the community tried to come to terms with the enormity of the loss. Police confirmed that they were exploring every possible angle, including relationships Amanda had, prior concerns she had raised, and reports of disputes at the apartment. While a definitive motive had not yet been publicly disclosed, the investigation underscored the complexity of the crime. It was a stark reminder that behind every headline lies human tragedy, often with layers that take time, care, and diligence to unravel. Community members responded with both sorrow and resolve. Vigils were held, flowers and toys left in memory of Amanda and her toddler, and online memorials shared stories of her generosity, her devotion to her child, and the impact she had on those around her. Friends described her as a woman whose life revolved around care, small acts of kindness that now resonate with the bitter awareness of a life cut short. This case also prompted reflection within the broader community. Neighbors, parents, and local organizations began discussing the importance of safety, support systems, and noticing warning signs when loved ones are at risk. Amanda's death became more than an isolated event. It became a call to awareness and action. For viewers watching this story unfold, the emotional reckoning is twofold: mourning Amanda's life and recognizing the fragility of safety and trust. It is a reminder that vigilance, compassion, and community support are crucial. While law enforcement continues their work, Amanda's memory lives on through the love she gave her child, the warmth she shared with friends, and the enduring mark she left on the neighborhood she called home. If this story moved you, honor Amanda's memory by liking, sharing, and commenting. Share awareness about domestic safety, support from others, and vigilance in our communities. Subscribe for updates on this case and other true crime stories that uncover both tragedy and humanity. Amanda Sheree Jones' life, though tragically ended, serves as a testament to the power of love, the heartbreak of loss, and the importance of remembering those who leave us too soon. May her memory inspire compassion, vigilance, and action for families everywhere.